great pleasure. Each time I stand before you all, I just thank God because once more He's given me the opportunity to stand before the greatest assembly in the whole wide world. And it can only be found here. Is that something? On the Emerson Avenue. Thank God. Thank God. God is still doing a great thing.
Yes, He is.
Yes, He has a way of doing things that man don't understand. He has a way of doing things that man seems to have been to them is impossible.
Yeah.
The one thing about God, and back in the days of old, a big bequeath was legal. In other words, they were laying on their dying bed and you made an agreement. That was considered legal and binding. When Isaac was about to pass on, his wife realized that God had already chosen the leader before that leader was born. The leader had a twin brother named Esau. Esau and Jacob, they were brothers. They were twins. The prophet told their mother that you are carrying two nations in your womb. They were at the time competitive. While they were in the womb, they wrestled one another. Excuse me. Competitive. It just so happened that when one came out, the other grabbed the foot. Trying to keep him in so he can get past. But Esau came out the stronger one. Physically. He was outdoors. A hunter. And his father favored him for that. But still, the mother favored the younger one. Because God had given her an intuition to see something in him, that true leadership was in Jacob. God had already blessed Jacob while he was in the womb. And the prophet said that the older one would serve the younger one. Esau came out first, yet Jacob still held on his foot trying to keep him in it. But he came out first. Even though he was the first and the elder, he was to serve the younger. God had sufficient grace. During this time, we find that when they grew up, Esau just continued to be a wild individual. He did things that was against the will of God. But still, his father favored him. Jacob did things that were pleasing in the sight of God. So therefore, it would make Jacob the better leader for the people. You have to have a certain type of heart to be in leadership. You have to be selfless. You will find that when you're in true leadership, normally you are the one that's last because you are busy putting everybody else first. Excuse me, and attending their needs. But God saw fit to bless Jacob in a special way. The leadership that he had with them. So when his father was about to pass, the mother conjured up a way of making it happen. That he would be the leader. She took certain things like the furs of the goat, put it on so he could feel rough like his brother. She made the suit. He made the suit for his father. It was different from the way his brother normally did it. But still, his father was old, he was sick, and he was feeble. But when Jacob came in to get the blessings, his father knew something was different. This does not feel like his oldest son. When he touched him, even though they had that rough stuff on him, he just knew something was different. Have you ever been in a situation where it just did not feel right? It didn't feel comfortable? Even though everything looked as though it was the way it was supposed to be, you just didn't feel like this was the way that things should be. And that's what happened during that time. When Isaac was about to pass on, he felt that something was different about this son. And when he spoke and called his name, and he answered, says, "Here I am." But he knew it was still something different in that voice. But he made the agreement. A deathbed agreement, which made it legal, it was binding, and it could not be overturned. But when you learn a little more about Esau sold his birthright. He came in from the fields. He was hungry. He wanted something to eat. And Jacob, he was cunning. Jacob was sharp-minded. He said, "Well, if you give me that, I'll give it to you." And he agreed. Because he didn't value it. And you see, that's the way some of us are sometimes. When God gives us a gift, we don't place enough high value on what God has given us.
That's right.
And sometimes when you get things too easy, you don't value it. You see, sometimes your gift, you are so well gifted that things in life seem to just come easy to you. And because of that, you don't value it as much as someone that has to struggle.
Come on, Brad.
You don't struggle for everything. So someone who has a lot of haters around with everything they try to do, they got people telling them, "You can't do it. It ain't worth it." To them, it may not be worth it.
Come on, Brad.
What's more important is what the value that you put on. And you got some people that struggle everything they get. They have to fight. And not only have to fight for it, they have to fight to keep it. And some people say, "Well, if you got to fight to keep it, it's not worth having. It means you shouldn't have it." But that is not true. The key is when you have something to fight for, you have to be willing to fight to maintain it. You got to continue to, if you want God blesses you, but if you want your blessings increased, then you have to be grateful. You got to pray. You got to be thankful. But not only that, you should give back. Be consistently giving back. You see, it's something about giving. I mean, just for the sake of giving, just for because you have a heart to give. Not to give to receive, but it's just in you to give. Whenever God bless you, actually you bless somebody else.
Absolutely.
The more He gives you, the more you give somebody else. It is something about that. It is casting your bread upon the waters when the tide is going out.
Come on, Brad.
Because sometimes you can reach a state in your life where you are in need.
Right.
And then that tide, the bread that you sent out on that waters, the wind begin to shift when you are in need. And the waters begin to come back. And your blessing is floating on the top. Praise God. This is why it's always good to be thankful. Always good to give. There's nothing wrong with being self-blessed. Sometimes you feel like, well, you help so many other people succeed. But don't grow weary in well doing. Even though you may see that you're doing bad.
My Lord.
You're struggling.
Yeah.
And everybody that you know seems to be doing better than you.
Yeah.
Satan will try to allow envy to come into you.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta pray. Satan will try to make you feel like, oh, you know, I should have given that to him. I should have kept that. Look at where I would be in life. It wasn't for you.
That's right.
It was not for you.
Yeah.
You see, somebody else's blessings is for them.
Yeah.
What God has for you
All right.
is for you.
That's right.
That's the one thing that God teaches us. To be humble.
Yeah.
To be thankful. The word of God says in everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Give.
Mhm.
What?
Right.
You see what output is to be a giver? You are giving.
Yeah.
And the things that you give, it goes out.
Yeah.
It's universal. God accepts
Yeah.
it and turns it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Jacob.
Yeah.
And Jacob grew older. The one that was blessed
Yeah.
to be the leader, he had sons. And he had one son in his older years
Yes.
that he favored.
Yeah.
He favored his son so much because he was so much in love with the mother
Yeah.
of that particular son.
Yeah.
He's the one that he wanted. But he was tricked into taking the older one first because
Yes.
that was the custom in that particular land.
Right.
And Jacob did not know that. Being that Jacob was a cunning man, the father of that daughter that he loved so much was even more sharper
Yes, he
than
was.
him at the time. But still, he practiced his cunning ways. And then the more you practice anything that you're good at, you get better.
Yeah.
You get better. When he was about to marry this daughter that he thought he was going to get first, was it Rebecca? They had the ceremony, and you know they covered their face. So after he had the ceremony and the night came when you make love, Jacob was in there turning on. Because in his mind, he had the one
Yes.
that he loved. Isn't it something how the mind works? In his mind, he was making love to Rebecca. He was carrying on. When morning came, the bell was on, and there was Leah, the oldest. Oh my God! It blew his mind.
Yes.
But that was a part of God's plan. When you deal with lineage, you find how a great man came from the lineage of Leah. He had to work more years, what was it, 7 years?
7.
To get the one that he really loved, Rebecca.
All right.
So eventually, after he worked, he already had it, but he still worked 7 years for the agreement. This is the one that the son Joseph came out of. And Jacob loved that young man. He was smart. And he was also gifted.
Yeah.
He was gifted with the ability to dream dreams. Not only could he dream the dream, God gifted him to interpret his own
Yes.
dreams.
Yes.
Not only he had the ability to dream dreams and interpret his own dreams, he had the ability to listen to the dreams of others and also interpret their dreams. This was Jacob's son,
Yeah.
Joseph. And he had, what, 11 brothers? By the time I think 11 was there, some of the older was there. He had some brothers older than him. And they was jealous of their own brother. Can you imagine that? Living with someone and being jealous and envious because he was getting something that they didn't get. He got a special love from their father that they didn't get. But it wasn't his fault. It was not his fault that their father favored him more. But still, they held him accountable. Some of us, we have jobs that we go to, and we work every day. And since we believe in this all-seeing, all-knowing God, and we give worship and we give thanks on a regular basis, and we share with our fellow man on a regular basis, the stuff that we learn, we share with somebody else so they can know it. And every time you make somebody else sharper, you become sharper than you were before. Isn't that something? The more you teach, the more you reach, the more you learn. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you receive, the more you increase your giving. Folks don't understand the works of that. And they become jealous of you. Because of the way you are. It's in your nature. And some things in your nature you cannot change because it's your makeup. You're built like that. So therefore, even those people that are over you, they will do everything they can to keep you from and the field that you are in. And some of them see the gift that's on you.
That's right.
And since they're in a position to hold you back, this is what they do.
That's right.
But what God has for you, it's for you.
Amen.
Right. I don't care what anybody on earth do, eventually you will receive it when you also have a desire for it. When it's in your heart. You see, when it's in your heart, you do you. And that's in your heart. So therefore you do the things that comes natural to you because it's what? It's in your heart. If you're a giver, I don't care what happens in life, you will always be a giver. Regardless. And in due time, in due season, sometimes it has to happen in a weird fashion. I was listening about this story about this Indian fellow who got captured and sold and taken to a foreign land. He was supposed to have been a giver and he was supposed to be a leader. Well, somehow he made his way back towards the land that he was coming in, and as soon as he got off the boat, another boat pulled up and tricked him to go to work for them. But instead of taking him one place, they took him somewhere else. In due time, he came back. And during the time that he got tricked, the people he was supposed to lead, they all had smallpox and they died. Had he been there, he wouldn't die. But when it's time for him to come back, he came back and he on the way over with the foreign land, he learned a new language. And when he came back, the people that occupied that land that he once had spoke that language. And they favored him so well that he became the leader of those people. God has a way. And my mama used to say his way is nice. He has a way of doing his thing in your life. When the desire is in your heart. We find that this young man, Joseph, eventually his brothers, they were so jealous of him, they wanted to kill him. And but since Jews, they love money so well, the other brothers said, but why should we kill him when we can make some money off of him? Let's sell him and let's take that beautiful coat that our father made for him, the coat of many colors. They was jealous of the coat. Of the coat that his father made to show his love for his son. Do you realize that we also have a special coat that we wear as a spiritual coat of many colors that people are envious of, that God has put on your life? And people get envious of the way you do your work, how God blesses you in your work, the way you can go on a place and don't understand how to do it, but God opens your mind and gives you true understanding. And you grasp it in such a way that those that were there many years before you don't have it, and you wind up being elevated and leading. Yes. You all right there? Joseph, he was blessed with the ability to dream dreams, interpret dreams, listen to your dreams, interpret your dreams. It's like reading tomorrow's paper today. Isn't that something? To be blessed like that? Man, if I knew what was going to happen next week and what to hold, there are many things I would do. That will work in my favor. So one morning, we find after they decide, well, let's take this coat, the coat of many colors, the one that our Father loves so much, that we're going to take that coat off of Joseph and unrobe him. For what? It's a way of shame, where people putting off the things that make you what you are. It is to bring shame to you. They took the coat off and put blood on it, took him, put him in a hole. Isn't that something? But just look at God. Many years before this man Joseph was born, God had allowed, I think it was his grandfather, to have a child by another woman outside the marriage. And these people were, that race, that generation was called the Ishmaelites. People may have thought it was shameful for what he did, but that's part of God's plan. You see, a lot of things we call disdain and we judge people for what they're doing. I'm not saying it's right, but God has a way of working. His grace is sufficient.
Yes.
He has a way of making wrong things that to our eyesight right. Because it was the Ishmaelites that came up and brought this young man. They were merchants. Lo and behold, he became what? A servant. People, even though you may be blessed, all the time your reward does not come easy. But you shall reap the reward. When you stay diligent. Stay diligent. Whatever it is you are about that's positive, don't give up. Do it when you don't feel like doing it. When it rains, you do it. When it snows, you do it. When the storm comes in your life, you do it. You do it, you do it, you do it, and you keep on doing it. That's right. But the day is too cold, Pastor Cross, to go out there. Go on and do it. But you know, Pastor, my car broke down. I know your car broke down, but still do it.
That's right.
I gotta walk a couple. Go ahead and walk. You wasn't born with that car.
That's right.
Isn't that right? Just go ahead and walk. Just do it. There is no because. There are many alibis for not succeeding in life. Many alibis. But there is no reason for failure. There is no reason for failure. Isn't that right? Why? Because you keep on doing it. And you do it. When you feel like doing it, you do it. But you really get your biggest blessing is when you don't feel like doing it. And you do it. Isn't that right?
That's right.
And that's what this man did, Joseph, when he wanted to interpret what he did. When he felt like harm might come to him for telling you the truth, he did it anyway. Anyway, he did it. When people would like it, he did it. When they didn't like it, he did it. Because when God has his hands on you, nothing can happen to you until God decides.
That's right.
That means you are immortal until God decides it's time for you to.
My Lord.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Just keep on doing.
Keep doing.
Keep on doing. They sold him, he became a servant, and something happened. What happened? He went, they put him in prison. For what? A lie that was told. The man was young. The man was intelligent. You see, when you got these things going for you, when you got youth, and you got some intelligence, and you got some good looks. Huh? When you got those three things, brother, see, because one thing I found, you could be the ugly. You could be so ugly that you zuggly. Zuggly, that's the last letter in the alphabet. You ain't ugly, you zuggly. Or zuggly. But if you got money,
That's right. You look the best.
He's so handsome. When you see that baby, he's the handsomest man. She's so beautiful. We a little bit, many years old, wrinkled out and finger, but what? Because you got it going on. When you have a lot to offer, they look plans everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The young man was handsome, he was intelligent, and he had access to everything that Potiphar owned. Potiphar did not own nothing that he didn't have access to except for one thing. He said, "You're going to tell you something, young man. You was a handsome young man. You was a smart young man. You got a lot of things going for you. You can have everything I got access to, everything except for one thing."
One day.
Don't touch it. No. Even though her husband was wealthy, even though her husband was wise, when he wasn't young, he had all that going for him, and he was young. And the wife had all these things. She was blessed abundantly. But do you know sometimes no matter what you get, you still want a little bit more. You can ask some rich people, man, how much is enough? They said a little bit more. How much is enough? A little bit more. And when they get a little bit more, it's enough. A little bit more. She wanted something else. That handsome, that bright, that intelligent, God-fearing. God-fearing. There's something about you when you are God-fearing. You seem like it's something about you. It is, yeah. It intrigues him. Excites and ignites. She wanted that young man. But he loved the Lord.
All right.
He put God first. And when she made the attempt for him to lie with her, he refused, and she could not accept rejection. There's something about that rejection. He ran out of his garment, and she accused him of trying to rape her. Isn't that something? Yeah. Of trying to have sex with her because she could not have him. You know Papa was going for that. He didn't, even though he did not fully believe his wife, because of the integrity. You see something about integrity? There's something about integrity. The man had so much integrity. He didn't really believe in his heart that it was true. But for faith, the show of faith. You understand what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
sake of having the true face of a leader before his people.
Right.
He chose to put that man back in the hole.
Yeah.
In the dungeon, in the prison. That's
Yeah.
where he went.
Yeah.
But you see, God's grace can never lead you
That's right.
where
All right.
it cannot keep you.
Yeah, right.
Huh? It never leads you where it
No.
cannot keep you. Even in the prison,
Yeah.
the captain of the guard saw something on that man's
That's right.
life
Yeah.
that nobody else had. And he promoted him as the leader in the jail. Whatever you wanted, you had to go to him for it. The captain of the guard didn't even know what he had. He hadn't even asked the Joseph what he had and where it was. Isn't that something? Tell about the clothes, man. About the clothes. We just want you to see this man's life and how he came up from his father.
Yeah.
Who God also blessed. You see what Leonard does? Bless this, bless this, bless this, bless this, bless Leonard. Huh? God, that's how God blesses. Tell. Isn't that something? And there are times when he blesses the multitude.
Yeah.
When they all are brought up a certain way, practice certain spiritual law.
Yeah.
Because law does not change. Law is absolute. It's
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
When you separate everything else, the truth is still there.
All right.
God's law.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
One morning, Pharaoh woke up after having a bad dream. And he went back to sleep and had another. Same dream, is that right? He thought it was two dreams. But when he called for help, nobody could interpret these two dreams to him. Well, I'll tell you what, if nobody can tell me who and what this dream is about, I'm going to kill all these magicians. I'm going to kill them all. He had interpreted the dream. He interpreted the dream of the baker. He told the baker, your head will be. He told the butler, you will be set free. But when you do, remember me. The butler was set free. So you so excited? The people got all about Joe. Here's Joe down there, still in the hole. But the word, I never saw what scripture said that he complained. I never saw what scripture read that he cursed God.
No.
He never thought about him as being an unfair God. He just kept on doing
That's
what
right.
came natural.
That's right.
Dreaming dreams, interpreting dreams, and working.
That's right.
Isn't that right? Why? Because that's what you do when God is in you. And that's what you do when you are in God. Lo and behold, somebody they tell me about to make my foot short. The butler jumps up. This is my moment. I'm going to shine. I know it. Isn't it so? When you know, and you know, you will shine. Isn't that right? I know somebody that can take care of this problem you got. You see, you ain't got to know everything yourself.
That's right.
A lot of times we run through life trying to be Mr. Know-it-all, trying to know everything. But it's good to know somebody that favors you.
Yeah.
And, you understand? Not just know you, but favors you. Who can do what you want done.
That's right.
Brother says, I got one of these ways he's in prison. When they're in prison, they get chosen out. And Joseph told Pharaoh, well, Pharaoh, what you had, they are not two dreams. They are one dream. It was one dream. It came in two parts, but it was one dream. And Pharaoh said, well, what do you interpret? You know, God has to interpret it. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And when he came back, he interpreted the dream. But let me tell you something, people. He had already, Joseph had already dreamt that he would be a leader and he would be the overseer over many people and over his family, and they would bow down to him. And when he told his family this would happen, they were jealous and they cursed him for even Jacob, his father, got upset. Because what? I'm dead. And I thank God that he taught me to respect my sons. To listen to them. Huh? They got something on their mind and feel some way about me. I don't hold them back. Even if it ain't right. Go let them tell me. Even if I don't like it. Tell them what? Because they have a right to their opinion. But they don't know how to tell them about me. I don't know what. You're going to make me mad at me. They don't just come right out and tell me. It takes a while. I got to get it out of them. Come on, let's have done somewhere. Let's go somewhere and have coke. Let's have tea. Let's talk. And after this many years, stuff may come out. Why? Because of their love for me. But don't worry about it. I want to know. Because what's good is what? A right relationship.
That's right.
A right relationship. That's what's important. And all relationships not right. Why? Because it's not communication.
That's right.
For good relation, you gotta have communication.
That's right.
Those who came up there, what they did, they cleaned him up first. They made him look
Yes.
like
Yes.
they shaved his face. Why they shaved? Because that particular race of people, they didn't wear hair. So we gotta make you look like you gotta look like us. And that's the thing. When you don't look like us, people feel what they don't understand.
All right.
You hear me? When people don't understand, that's the reason why you see a hard time. Because you are a peculiar people.
Yeah.
They don't understand you. That's why. But anyway, long story short, he told him what the dream was about. And then he told Pharaoh, what you gotta do, Pharaoh, you gotta pick somebody out among your people that knows how to carry out this plan. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So Pharaoh was smart. Well, man, you know all this stuff. You ought to be the one to run it. And that's what he is. And that's the reason I respect this guy who bought this business. I think it was a basketball team. Black guy bought a basketball team. And he said, what you gonna do with a basketball team? You don't know about basketball. He said, I know. But I'm gonna choose somebody that knows basketball to run. And that's what you do. You get the experts that know what you want done and do what you want done. God's grace will never leave you.